This is a first look at what Autopilot Journeys will look like once it's been upgraded to Auto later this month. And just to give you a sense of how we're rolling this out, it will be fairly slowly. We'll start at the end of this month and we expect to be complete around mid-September. You'll also be notified before we start upgrading your account and there'll be no interruptions whatsoever. So really, one day you'll just log in and you'll be in the new Auto experience. I've started off in Autopilot and I'm in the journey section today, and this will be very familiar to you. So all of your journeys and all the settings and features from Autopilot are not going away. They're still all available in here. So we can take a quick look at this by going into a journey. And you can see you've got the existing journey builder. All your journeys will be in here untouched and they'll work exactly as you need them to work. So this is what it looks like running within Auto. I'll go down and now have a look at contacts. So again, you can just access it all from this menu here. So that's really the biggest change. So you can see all the different contacts I've got in here. I've got all my lists and segments. Again, everything works as you would expect. If you're using proactive heads up, you'll see that feature in here as well. So we can go in and have a look at that. And below that, you've got your settings. Now, there are some changes in the settings. So your billing and payments will now be managed from within Auto, and your team members in your account will also be managed through Auto as well. And there's a lot of advantages to this. The one other piece that you'll be missing is the Insights dashboard that you normally start on within Autopilot. And that's because we've replaced it with the dashboard feature in Auto, which we think you'll love. So the first thing I'll quickly show you is just how you'll manage your team and billing a little bit differently. So let's go over here into Setup in Auto, which is accessed down the bottom. And under User Management, you'll see that I'm the only user of this account, but any users that you have in Autopilot Journeys will automatically be added in here. So you don't need to do anything, they'll just come through. But what you can do is add new features like two-factor authentication to the account. You can also enforce it account-wide. You've got things like user logs as well now. You can do password resets from here, which is a really handy feature. You can also add new users or manage existing users and change permissions in the account as well. So we now have user roles and permissions, which will you can access and use through here. Your billing will also be managed through Auto, as I said earlier. So under plan and billing, you'll be able to manage anything related to billing. And of course, your pricing, your plan will stay structured exactly the same way. The prices aren't changing. Nothing really is changing at all. Hopefully you're getting the message there. So there are some changes from within Auto. So the question is sort of how does Autopilot and Auto work together? Like what benefit do you get out of the upgrade? So under More here in the menu, you'll see data sources, and this is how Auto connects to your data. And so what is going on here is this fictitious big business Autopilot Journeys account, the data is coming in through what we call a data source. And so that's how Auto works. So you can see the tracking code is also a data source, and we have new data sources here as well. So you can connect to all of these different data sources to the Journeys account, and they'll work seamlessly with Autopilot Journeys. So if you have, for example, Salesforce connected to your Journeys account, you can just leave that connection in place. You don't need to update it or change it or do anything. But if you do want to benefit from some of the new features of these data sources, for example, if you're a Salesforce user, we now support multiple objects and object relationships. You can go ahead and just connect to Salesforce here as well, and you'll get all the benefits of that new data model. It's really up to you if you want to connect to the new data sources in here and start to take advantage of some of Auto's features. The other notable change is under email campaigns and asset management. You'll now do all of that through Auto. As you remember, those features were in early access and we were obviously building towards Auto. So now you can actually do all that from in here. You can also build journeys in Auto if you prefer, but you can still build them in the existing journey builder as well. It's really just up to you. You'll have access to playbooks, journeys, single send SMS campaigns, and email campaigns in here as well. And of course, if you're using SMS features in Autopilot Journeys today, you can continue to do that and have that all configured within Journeys, or you could start to send SMS directly through Auto. The choice is really up to you. There's a few other new features in here. For example, capture widgets, so you can build different widgets now. So bars, pop-ups, notifications, takeovers, banners, forms. You can also track forms in here, which is a really handy feature as well. And the data can also be accessed in here under people. So these are all of your Autopilot Journeys contacts that in sync from that data source. So under filter, you'll see Autopilot Journeys, and that's where you will access or can access all the fields from Journeys. And then you'll see there's a number of new activities in here, things like opened email, and there's a ton of more segmentation options in here as well. So you can do things like frequency and time-based searches. Have they opened an email more than 4 times in the last 30 days? So now you can do segments or what we call filtering of frequency and time-based data as well, which is really neat. So under organizations, you'll find there's a separate section now for accounts or organizations, and you can filter directly off those as well. So you've got that data model where there's people, organizations, and under audiences, this is where you can build different audiences. And these are very similar to what you'd be familiar with smart segments. So you can save a filter and then monitor it over time under an audience as well. One of the big benefits of this new data model is that we're going to expose all of the existing activity data in Ortto itself. So you can see this is a dashboard using data from an Autopilot Journeys account. So this is showing emails sent, open rate, click rate. And if I go into reports here, I can actually access and build reports based on my the data coming from Autopilot Journeys. So here, if we wanted to build an area chart, I can have activities directly from Autopilot Journeys data. So I've got things in here like email opens, and I can do email clicked as well. So you can build charts with all of that data and easily cut through all this data for the first time. So you get this great BI and reporting tool built in. You can build different dashboards. When you get migrated over, there'll be a series of dashboards already built in for you to get you started. So you're going to have access to all that data, two-factor authentication, the new capture widgets, the new campaign types, and a ton of new features. We know you're going to love it. We're working very hard to get this to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your patience, and I can't wait to get this into your hands very soon.